In addition to being a global hotspot, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has destroyed the idea of a united Europe. The world powers are perplexed about the future as the battle rages on. Many people do indeed doubt whether the future will exist at all. The demand-supply gap is having an impact on the entire world, and the war is disturbing the supply chain. Either the nations are at war, or rising fuel and food prices have an indirect effect on them. There is a commonality across all the inequalities that hamper modern man's existence: things are becoming worse. Time is running out and there is a flashpoint in the world. One should be prepared for the blaring bells of World War III in the event that Russia becomes overly adventurous. The United States and its allies support Ukraine to the point where Moscow perceives it as a direct danger, or China decides to disregard caution. An extended conflict benefits no one. The Russian economy will be under pressure from the economic sanctions as each day goes by, and the support for Ukraine will begin to wane. Soon enough, cracks will start to show more clearly. It has already been stated by the French president that Moscow should not be made to look bad. Despite supporting the end of the conflict, China has ruled that sanctions against Russia are unlawful. On the other side, Ukraine has been able to preserve its independence. The West should thus reevaluate the cost of a protracted war and the benefits it anticipates from elevating Ukraine to a global power. General Richard Barrons, a former head of the UK Joint Forces Command, made it clear when he said, "No matter how this war turns out, and as cynical as it sounds now, historians will say that Putin's attack on Ukraine gave Europe the time it needed to recover so it could face Russia and, further down the line, China. Ukraine is paying much to buy us some time. In order to return Russia to its pre-2014 position, more territory must be taken by Ukraine, according to the current conception of its success." But putting aside the rage and moving on to reason, one may wonder how much it will cost Ukraine to win back those extra hectares after fighting for, say, the next 5 years. The key to Ukraine's limited win is to seize the moment while it still exists by concentrating quickly on Western-funded reconstruction work, assimilating into Europe, and strengthening security while cruising toward a democratic future. Reconstruction is a difficult task that requires years of effort and resources worth billions of dollars. The amount of destruction in the nation grows rapidly with each day of hostilities. Ukraine needs to exert more effort to achieve a ceasefire so that the world can move on. It goes without saying that it will be a difficult pill for the Ukrainian leadership to take after having suffered so greatly at the hands of Vladimir Putin, but it will help Volodymyr Zelensky's nation maintain its freedom and grow into the future of Europe. The US and Europe need to support a reasonable resolution. The West must be open to accepting Ukraine's victory in terms of democracy, economy, and health away from the battlefield. Conflict between the US and regional powers China and Russia will only worsen if the conflict continues. The US is keenly observing China's backing for Russia, which has the potential to cause more rifts and the formation of geopolitical and economic blocs. Putin may still be able to accomplish some of his objectives, and all signs point to him choosing isolation for Russia and ongoing instability for Europe and Ukraine rather than admitting his error. Losing might make his political survival in doubt. Although Ukraine has received incredible assistance, it will not continue indefinitely. The expense of conflict will eventually increase, the amount of destruction will only increase, and reconstruction will take a very long time. It is time for global leaders to learn from the past, both distant and current, about how wars devastate people's quality of life. After World War II, NATO was created, and the League of Nations was founded at the conclusion of World War I. However, there won't be a conclusion following World War III. Nuclear missiles will be over London, Tokyo, Beijing, Moscow, and Washington in a matter of minutes. Then, Mars will be the only place that humanity have to live. Do we want that to happen? In addition to being a global hotspot, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has destroyed the idea of a united Europe.